Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tim here. So, the reason why I'm here, well, let's not get into that. This isn't sex ed. Not going to happen. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this video is probably when it comes to VC, patient zero. I mean, the guy who kicked it all off. I mean, he's been around longer than probably everybody. Mr. Hall of Fame himself, yours truly, Branden, is having a 6,000 subs contest. I mean, I think anybody who has been in the VC any length of time, they would probably say one of the first videos they ever watched was Branden's, and we all know Branden. We get invited into his home and his lair a lot, and you know, when you see that Mr. Mrhoffame tag on your comment, you're like, wow, I made it big time. You know, you just it's amazing because he does watch a lot. You know, when he feels compelled to comment or enter into a contest or just show you a little bit of love. It's like getting an A grade. So I would be remiss if I didn't do this. So Branden, this one's for you. Subtly, I'm wearing this shirt because Branden and I have had a few conversations about the wonderful world of hip hop. He is a hip hop head to some extent. He doesn't necessarily listen to all of it, but he listens to a fair amount of it. And recently, there's been a lot of things going around on the internet for the top 50, whatever, MCs of all time. And one of mine, I think it's overlooked a lot, is Black Thought from the Roots. So I wore my Roots t-shirt for you. Anyway, let's get in. We're almost at 2 minutes. Let's get this cracking. So, 5 questions, and he asked for a room tour, which I will do at the end. Anyway, first question. Song with lyrics that just freaked you out. I mean, just everything. This one, to me, took about 7 seconds. The first time I heard this, I was messed up, Jack. I don't have this on wax. Shame. It's coming. I'm pretty sure that in the stuff my aunt is giving me, they have an OG press. So, but, I mean, first off, you look at that cover, you're just like, I don't know if I want to listen to it. And then you hear that opening track, Black Sabbath, and you're like, some bad stuff about to happen. But I loved it. I mean, as creeped out as I was that first time I heard it, I loved it, and I didn't stop. So this one really freaked me out. And it freaked me out for a little while. I would, force myself to listen to it. And, love it. Okay, question number 2. The stressful part of collecting. You know what? There's a lot of stressful things. Money. I think some of these prices that some of these things are going for are crazy. But also time. I know a lot of people have issue with space. I am very blessed to say that I have a fair amount of room, and I have a wife who really respects and understands what this means to me. It wasn't always the case. I will get into that in a little bit. But my wife completely understands that this is me. That music is a part of what drives and feeds my soul. And it's my escape, it's my release, it's my meditation, it's healing for me. So she gets it, she understands it, and as long as we're not taking away from the family, she's got no problem with it. So I think it's time, with a caveat to money, because there's some beautiful music out there that I think should be shared with people. People need to hear this, and people should hear this. But it also makes it difficult when some of that music is $300, $400, $500. I get it. There's always going to be rarities, but I think that hopefully we're going to do an end to it soon. The price gouging. You're looking at an album that's $25. You're like, nah, it really should only be $15. So anyway, another tangent. But I think time with a caveat to money. So, three songs or albums that played a significant role in your life. The first one I want to talk about, I don't own for a reason, and that's John Lennon's Just Like Starting Over. So, I told the story on my channel before about being essentially awake. I used to fall asleep to the clock radio in my room, and I used to set it to a timer. And just as they were breaking in that evening to share the news of the assassination of John Lennon, my mom came running into the room. And she knew I listened to the clock radio. It was on a snooze timer, and I'd fall asleep to it. So she came running in to see if I was still awake and to tell me. And I was very confused about the hate that somebody would have for somebody else to take their life like that, especially someone like John Lennon, who had given so much joy, who had given peace. And, say what you will about maybe his improprieties with Yoko Ono. I mean, he practiced what he preached. He preached love, he preached forgiveness and understanding and peace, and he really was that person. And I was really taken away by the fact that somebody would want to hurt somebody like that. And then in the days that followed, you couldn't escape the song Just Like Starting Over. And that moment, the double entendre of the song, starting a new phase, going, whether, and he didn't mean it as such, but it felt like death. It was a hard listen. I forced myself, I cried. It took me probably 15 plus years before I could even get to that song, the whole song again. I would either feel like I was getting sick, I would just break down. I mean, it really affected me. And because of that, I still have yet to been able to buy Double Fantasy. I don't know. Will I buy it? Yes, I want it. I want to have it. I know there's some beautiful music on it, but still that song affects me. And I go right back to that moment of being a very confused and scared little kid. So that's one. Two is a song that came out before, but I didn't know it was going to have the impact it had on me at the time. I just knew that it was new and it was different, and I had never heard anything like this before. And this is Rapper's Delight on the Sugar Hill Records by the Sugar Hill Gang. So this is the original presses. This is how it, when the label first came out, this is how it looked. This is what went out in New York. As it sold out, they were able to expand their catalog. Obviously, you saw Sugar Hill Records everywhere. And Sylvia Robinson was very smart to update the packaging, the logo, create a brand. But this was how the original came, Red label, Sugar Hill Records, very basic, very plain. This was basically our first hip-hop single. This was also the very first time that history taught us that there was a lot of shady dealings going on, not just at Sugar Hill Records, but a lot of way those early hip-hop records got made. If you don't know what I'm referring to, there's a rapper from the Crush crew, Grandmaster Caz. These are his lyrics. Every last one. Completely plagiarized and ripped off. So, but that being said, we didn't know what we were getting into with hip-hop. Hip-hop kind of took the world by storm. And so we didn't know. We just didn't know what was coming. And, I mean, here it is. I mean, everybody said in 82, 83, 84, it's a fad. It was everywhere. It was on cereal boxes, and it was in kids' TV, and it was parodies upon parodies. I mean, we had someone impersonating Ronald Reagan doing a rap. We had Arsenio Hall create an alter ego to do a rap album. We had celebrities try to rap. We had football teams and basketball teams. I mean, it was literally everywhere. And now it's an everyday understanded part of culture. I mean, whether you like it or hate it, it's there. You know, so I didn't realize it was going to grab me like that. It was just, to me, it was something new. It was something different. It was avant-garde. It wasn't the typical thing that was being played on the radio. So I had to have it. Who knew? Who knew? The third album that had an impact on me was simply by the time it came to me. And I've talked about this before, and I'm going to go into a little bit of a different angle with this story. So this is DJ Shadow's official debut album, Introducing, E-N-D, Introducing. So I discovered this, and I've told this before on this channel, walking through a Tower Records, and I was there because I was going through some stuff. I called up a buddy and said, hey, I need to get away, get my thoughts cleared. Basically what was happening was I was breaking up my first marriage. I'm not going to get into the whys. You know, that's old news. It's old wounds that have completely healed over. I don't have any scars from it anymore. I'm blessed to say that I have a lovely and crazy 24-year-old now because of that. But at the time, I was really lost. And I was really confused, and I was really hurt, and I was very angry. And I needed something. I needed something in my life. And I just didn't know what I needed. I just know I needed to go to the record store because music has always been there for me. And just walking around, I found this. And the reason why I initially picked it up was the record, you know, the actual cover. I saw it on CD. And a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away in high school, I was a DJ. Was DJ for even after high school. But for a very small period of time, I went by the name T-Mix, the White Shadow. Never really told that story anymore. Doesn't matter. So I see DJ Shadow, and I'm like, what the hell? Every name that I go with is taken. Let's see what this guy has. And, well, I think he earned it. What was amazing about this album is that there wasn't a lot of vocals. It was pretty much all instrumental. It was trip hop. It was very psychedelic. It was very avant-garde. It was very jazz oriented. It still had its roots in hip hop, but there was more to it. And its haunting melodies and its downtone, some of it was very minor key, was very introspective for me, and it was literally food for my soul that it devoured. I remember playing it 3, 4, 5 times in a row for weeks on end. It didn't leave the car. It didn't leave my Discman. It literally went with me everywhere I went. And I turned on a ton of people onto this sound and this album, and it literally got me through a very painful and hard point in my life. So I'm going to put this story to bed. I think this is kind of like, you know, I've pieced it together. But this album by and large. All right, so question 4, 1 to 5 songs about places you have been. This was really hard. I'm like, I've been here and I can't find anything. I've been there and I can't find anything. I mean, artists from, but it's not really a song. So I went with one, and I'm going to kind of cop out on this one. This is Dave Matthews' most recent release, Come Tomorrow. And there's a track on it, side 2, Virginia in the Rain. Now, what makes this one so unique is that because I'm originally from the DC metro area, yes, I've been to Virginia many times. I have spent numerous summers in Virginia. My grandparents used to, when they were alive, they lived in Virginia Beach, so I would go there every summer. I would see my aunt and uncle, who I've mentioned on this channel numerous times, who did a lot for me in creating my musical beliefs and things. So Virginia was very much a part of my culture and my childhood and even teenage years. But on a secondary level, a friend of mine lived in Lynchburg, Virginia, working East work for Babbage's, and said, man, you guys got to come down and visit, man. I haven't seen you in forever. And when you get here, we're going to go see this local band. So I actually had a chance to see them when they were a local band in Central Virginia. They ripped the place apart. So fitting that this came up with Virginia and Dave Matthews for a place I've been. So it kind of came full circle with them. Question 5, since we all know about music and talk about music, get to know somebody else through music. So I work in a fairly large office. I mean, we do between remote and in office. There's about 100 people or so, maybe a little bit more. Everybody knows that I am, everybody's like, oh, he's the music guy or he's the vinyl guy. It's like, yeah, it's whatever. But there's a guy who sits kind of catty corner because we have cubes that go in different directions. That him and I talk, but his dad works in runs one of the departments, and his dad knows I collect records, and I know he used to work, or he's a huge NFL guy, and he collects a lot of helmets and things like that. But him and I never really talked music, my friend's dad. So I was like, hey, what are you into? And he's really into 80s metal, especially like that glam scene. So his 3 favorite bands, his name is Mike. Mike's 3 favorite bands were Motley Crue, because we talked about. After that, we was like, oh, did you see the documentary? And that opened up a great conversation around that. He told me about he loves Rat, which I agree. Rat, better than Crue, so sue me later. But he's also a huge, really Metallica fan. So I thought that was really interesting. Got to know him a little bit more. He liked that a lot of adrenaline rock, get your blood pumping. He used to work out. He was very athletic, so it made sense. So we got to know him through music, and we got to talk a little bit more. But a new guy had started, and was walking past, and I was like, hey, he's like, hey, I hear you, and because of the IT guy sits right behind me, and he's IT, I'm software and data, and so he's like, I hear you guys talking about music. I'm like, yeah, I'm a huge music guy. I guess this kind of popped in your ear, so before we even get on the conversation, what are some of the things you're into? And his name was John. John told me he's a huge Deadhead. And I actually saw it on his little coffee mug. He had the dead skull symbol. I was like, oh, right, Dead, But he's a KRS fan. KRS-One. And he was telling me the story about when he went and saw him, and he just kind of started taking everybody to school and dropping his knowledge and stuff that really blew him away. But we also got into a conversation that he was a big Meters fan, especially when they announced the passing of one of the Nevilles, who was in the Meters. His first name just completely escaped my brain, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot, so I'm not gonna try to pull it. But he was a huge Meters fan. We got on the topic of Meters and what they did with the hip hop, and just their catalog. And he was like, "Wow, you really know a lot about music." I'm like, no, what I know is this compared to the eternal consciousness. But I'm always learning. But I love what I love. So I thought it was a great experiment and a great social idea to kind of get to know your fellow person through music. And now there's a couple people that are constantly asking me about music stuff, or vice versa. So I thought that was really cool. So next, I gotta be a cheese. I'm gonna do a very quick room tour. It's not pretty, but I promised that I would do it. And I know Branden likes to see this stuff. So through the power of editing and magic, you will see my stuff in 3, 2, 1. All right, so what you're looking at is my horribly packed CD shelf. This is about half of what we have. The other half I'm working on trying to get back down here. As you can see, it's completely full. I need to add more shelves. I have another shelving unit right there that I need to build. So I need to get that done, and then get some additional shelves for it and alphabetize it and organize it and stuff like that. Little Maiden Book of Souls box set. So over here, is all the goodies. So, quick stuff. This is my cleaned and to be listened to be shown pile. As you can see, it's got a little bit. Get a little preview of what I'm listening to there next. Some Dave Edmunds. Scored a bunch of Dave Edmunds for $1 a piece, and we'll get into that one of my future videos. This is where I keep all of my music related DVDs or Blu-rays. So see some Beatles and DJ Shadow and Hendrix and stuff like that. 45s are in 2 of those cloth bins, and my cleaning stuff, this is more stuff that more 45s, more records to be cleaned. That's a secondary turntable that I have as a backup if needed. My Beats headphones, which I listen to sometimes. Pardon the mess here. My main turn, that's what I was listening to today. A little Charles Lloyd side 2 is rough. I'm gonna have to try to clean that one up a little bit more. Some recently acquired CDs, stuff on the wall. This is a one-of-a-kind painting of Jimi Hendrix, done specifically for me by a very talented Mr. Andy Borders from the VC. Andy, come back, we miss you. Hopefully you're doing well. Got a Bob Marley poster up there and some Beatles cars and just some odds and ends of mess stuff I need to clean up. I got 12-inch singles down here and other goodies. And then this is the main, all my Star Wars stuff up top. Try not to make anybody seasick with all the moving. The top row, maybe a quarter, are cleaned and cataloged and listened to and loved, and then the rest of it, not so much. Lots of work that needs to be done. It's major collections I bought last year that I'm still working through. I have them logged in the Discogs, and I just kind of pull out a couple here and there. So I'm really trying to be mindful, get that done. And then stuff that I've recently listened to showed it's just time to finally put away. So that's it. That's pretty much the listening section. You know, speakers aren't great. Stereo does its job, you know, but it's what I got for now, and it's always a work in progress. So hopefully 6 months from now, this will look a lot different, but we'll see. So, Brandon, with that, thanks for having an awesome contest. Thanks for being an awesome guy. And you're okay in my book. Everybody, thanks for watching. Please, if you don't know who Brandon is, I will leave a link, because if you don't know who he is, you got a problem. Take care, everybody. We'll talk soon. Peace.